Hey, anatomy class, we are studying neurotransmitters and their effects. Now, you have already, I'm sure, watched the video about the nerve impulse. My video about why it's important on lesson 9.3. But now, and then we've done our corrections plan, and we are now studying the neurotransmitters, which is part of that nerve impulse process. So the do now is the nerve impulse exit ticket. So you've already done those diagrams of the brain and the nerve and the impulse, and you'll go to Eduphoria and answer those questions. But today's lessons on neurotransmitters, you'll differentiate between specific neurotransmitter functions by reproducing the neurotransmitter table and using it to answer the questions in Eduphoria. So you'll have more questions. And that'll be under the 9.4, the neurotransmitters. Okay, so success criteria. Sorry, I can't bring it onto the screen at the moment. You'll be able to reproduce the neurotransmitter table, and you'll be able to answer those questions about neurotransmitter functions, and you'll be able to write a sentence about the effects of a drug or alcohol on nerve impulses. For example, the effects of blank on nerve impulses are blank, blank, and blank. And you'll write that sentence in a Google comment after you turn in your table. What does your table look like? It's going to look just like this, okay? Neurotransmitters are chemicals that move between synapses. That's that space where the nerves come together. SYN means like together, like synthesis, bringing two ideas together, or symphony, bringing sound together. So the neurotransmitters are chemicals that move between synapses and continue to relay impulses between neurons. Different types of neurotransmitters relay different messages. For example, serotonin can relay messages about mood, while dopamine relays messages about movement. Okay, you scroll on your phone, and that message gets to your brain and makes you want to scroll again. That's dopamine. Serotonin relaying messages about mood. You exercise in the morning, and later on in the day, you have this rise in mood. And when you're laying down all day, you have your mood can drop later because you're sending the message to your brain that it's maybe a little doom. Not that you don't need to sleep. You get what I mean. The following table summarizes a few common neurotransmitters and their functions. So let's talk about the first row. This is acetylcholine. Say acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. And the primary function is involved in muscle control, memory formation, and sensory response. It's excitatory. Where is it located? Neuromuscular junctions and CNS, central nervous system. So neuromuscular junctions, that's like activating muscles and stuff. Okay, and receptors. So that means what's receiving this neurotransmitter. You remember the little buckets in your diagram on the next nerve where the neurotransmitter drops into? So the receptors for acetylcholine are nicotinic and muscarinic. And here's some notes. Acetylcholine is one of the most common and very well studied neurotransmitter. It is a major player in memory, and imbalances in acetylcholine cause twitching or paralysis. In fact, if there's a bacteria that produces a protein that I believe it blocks this acetylcholine neurotransmitter, and you'll basically die by just your muscles will all contract all over your body until you die. So it's not a good way to go. So as you can see, this is how you can treat this about in learning your neurotransmitters and their effects. And your last sentence will be regarding the effect of a drug or alcohol on the nerve impulse. So you can relate what you have in these little notes. It refers to some drugs in here, or you can do outside research. You can see cocaine is on here. And if you'll scroll through this, you'll see some connections to the effects of drugs or alcohol. And you can go in other places as well. All right, so your success criteria. Sorry, my screen isn't big enough to see it, but look down here on the slide that's available for you to make sure you do what you need to do for this lesson and make it well money.